For those of you wondering, what's all this discussion about the Bank of America of Louisiana? Is it in the White Book? Well, it is. It's on page 404 in the middle of the page. So Petula was shaking. He could hear her heart beating fast because it's time to die.
I can feel your heart beating fast because it's time to die. Getting high, watching time fly. Cause all my motherfuckers staring at the world through my rear view.
He wondered what exactly had her so paranoid. Was it the threats, the weed, or the life he'd soon leave? He closed his book, The Bank of America of Louisiana, and tossed it in the back seat. The Bank of America of Louisiana. And that's Jim Morrison's White Book. It was what the scene was kind of depicting. Me and my girlfriend, 96 Bonnie and Clyde. The general's in the car and he throws the Bank of America of Louisiana book in the back seat. And it's known as, I guess, the Jim Morrison White Book. I never read it. There's not even a look inside on Amazon. But seems interesting, and apparently there's a sequel to it as well. The sequel is Light My Fire. It's out of print, soft cover. The famous book predicted by Nostradamus, as the cover read. It's the sequel to the Bank of America of Louisiana, and it's the first and only edition published by Zeppelin, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in 1984. It's the psychotic ramblings of William Castleberry passing himself off as Jim Morrison as he reappears on Earth disguised as a super hippie. The Bank of America of Louisiana by Jim Morrison is selling for $246 on Amazon right now. And this is bizarre, painful, fascinating. Is it Jim or is it not? And it's just, one of the reviewers says, to me, this book fully explained why Jim might have faked his death. The constant harassment from the authorities made his life unbearable, as it would any of us. His life became split into two realities, the one which the media made him out to be, and his own. See, remember I was saying the Tupac machine? That video just happened to fall in my lap last night, right before I made this video, like a day before. And Jim Morrison saying the same thing. So, deep creative, the two Jims, two personalities intertwined yet separate, one very happy and one very sad. Reading this book made me understand that he had to disappear. But is Jim dead or not? Well, we do know there is much mystery about it. The book put my spirit at ease with any of the many possibilities, mind expanding, so to speak. So we could see why that book was included in the White Book. Fascinating. I had never even heard of the Bank of America of Louisiana. On YouTube, there is only one reference to the Bank of America of Louisiana outside of the White Book channel. And it's by Jay Lizard, and it was from 8 years ago. So let's take a look if there's any information we could get out of it. Now in the video, it's poor quality audio because it's, again, from 8 years ago. So 2010, I'm assuming. Yeah, this dropped in August of 2010. And it looks like he was a Doors fan. So let's see these comments, because I looked at this earlier. And so let's just read these comments. So I just bought the book and had to pay $240, but I have it now. I haven't read it yet, but plan to. I've been interested in this book for quite some time for reasons that go pretty deep. This book isn't available anywhere online. Much like Jim, it's a ghost with an occasional rare sighting. Plan on reading it tonight. That was 2 years ago. And Elston Gunn says, well, there are some copies for sale used on Amazon. And there is. I looked. We'll look at that real quick. And after this, I hate to break it to you, but it's all a scam. I used to work for Zeppelin Publishing in the late 80s. At my hollow point is 100% correct. And Jay Lizard says, well, see, our Pope, I appreciate your response. I know that Jim Morrison is William J. Lawyer, but even he didn't want to talk about this book. I asked him direct one time, and he said, I wrote a lot of things after I died. Can you tell us more what you know about this forgery? Someone else chimes in, Jay Lizard, that's because he is not Jim, nor knew nothing of this book. Absolute absurdity. So far, no one's buying it. Ningishu of Nibiru, William Lawyer, the Rodeo West fella, is not Jim Morrison. It was a scam. He looks nor sounds nothing like Jim. Mike Hunt, any chance Lawyer is on video or has sang or has come out to talk to the public about this or has the same mannerisms as Jim? This next guy, here we go. More stories. Come on, Lizzie boy. This entire thing is washed away by now. Even that joke of a website, High Mountain Rogue, is gone. My hollow point. says, stranger things have happened. William actually thinks, and who knows, may be Jim Morrison. I only wish I'd have had him autograph the book he gave me. I didn't think much of it at the time, but the last time I saw the book on Amazon, it was going for $200. Jay Lizard, the guy that made the video, says, that book in itself, my hollow point. That is a book in itself, my hollow point. I have talked to Bill Lawyer many times and am convinced that it is the Jim Morrison. What I told Jim that a young man from Greece told me about the Bank of America of Louisiana and asked if he had ever heard of it, Jim himself said over the phone, there are a lot of things I did after I died. I figured he might have had something to do with this strange writing. Hopefully time will tell, soon. And there's a reply. Poppycock, I am a family relative of the Morrison family. This is complete utter crap. Yeah, but that could just be a cover-up. My hollow point says, I have the Hollow Point book. It was written by William Castleberry, Jr. He claimed to be the reincarnation of Jim Morrison. His father owns Pelican Printing Company in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. William distributed the book by the thousands out of a small business called Zeppelin Publishing, where I met him. An interesting story in itself. He gave me a copy of the book at the time I met him. And there's a reply. Let's see the reply. Zeppelin Publishing was started and owned by Jim Morrison. Jay Lizard says, hey, thanks for the negativity. It always fuels my fire. Baby, light my fire. And all of those who strive for the truth. With very limited means, High Mountain Rogue is in talks with a technical team of web designers who seem very sincere in creating a more professional website to let those who love Jim know that he faked his death in 1971 and is still alive. No fakery sham here. Just Christian men with heart and purpose. Get the lead out, a-hole. It looks like the Logan site is down for the count. Perhaps he and this fakery sham have finally had enough. Jay Lizard says, no. Some claim that Jim Morrison wrote this work after he faked his death and went into hiding. Jay Lizard says, hey, thanks for your kind words. Jim was a great rock star for about 8 years. He has been a disguise artist for 40. There is nothing between the lines. Bill Lawyer is Jim Morrison of The Doors, having faked his death in 1971. Have you checked out Cliff Morrison and Waylon Krieger's, yes, Robbie's son on YouTube? John Laez, your voice kind of sounds like Jim, yet I too have been on the website High Mountain Rogue, even corresponded with David Logan. But nothing really clear or concise comes from it other than check out the photos. Even though I don't believe that Lawyer is Jim, it's still an interesting and fun myth to believe in. Also read carefully what they say on the site. Read between the lines. They're not exactly saying it's Jim. And then Jay Lizard says, hey, thanks, Mary. I was introduced to the Bank of America from Louisiana from a Jim fan from Greece. It is hard for me to align this work with what I think of Jim's way of thinking, but the more I read about Jim, the more I discover the less I know. Jim is true to himself, but a brilliant master of disguise. And then Mary says, pretty interesting. So you can look at this video. Maybe I'll put a link in the description of this video. You can hear this guy narrate. I'm guessing it's the same chapter I read the other day. So there you have it. And let's see the description. Jay Lizard reads the introduction of a cult classic, Jim Morrison's Bank of America of Louisiana. I think there's a good chance that he wrote this book, and I know that Jim Morrison, a.k.a. Bill Lawyer, is aware of it. This is all we have on the Bank of America of Louisiana. Most people are saying it's a fake sham. Probably is, but what's the motivation behind it? Also, I do know that there is a lot of Jim Morrison people that think they are Jim Morrison or a reincarnation. Like, it's not isolated to just these guys. Just like Tupac, there were a lot of people obsessed with Jim Morrison. I wasn't alive at the time, but I did see in my parents' collection they had multiple copies of the Doors album that had Light My Fire on it. Like, there's like 3 copies of the record. I don't know if they're going for collector value now, but I figured records were too hard to ship, so I just gave them away. And here's an excellent lesson in capitalism, at least in as far as the role of prices is concerned. Now, at the time, the Bank of America of Louisiana was going for $240, which is, we call price gouging. But the concept in the role of prices is that price gouging actually helps people more than it hurts people, because the higher price attracts more supply to the area. So we see here The Bank of America of Louisiana by Jim Morrison is now available for $30. It's still pretty high, but let's take a look inside. Now, again, that $30 thing, it's from $30. So 14 used from $30 and 2 collectible from $179. Let's just see what makes it collectible. Let's just check that real quick. Okay, just very good condition and inscribed by the author, Jim Morrison. No defects or marks of any kind. $179, $250. So let's see these lower price ones. Just in case you wanted to get one for your collection. 14 used from $30. So act now. I'll put a link in the description. $30 plus $4 shipping. Used acceptable. Another one for $30. Used acceptable. $38.99. Used acceptable. $42.75. Used good. $49.95. Used good. $62.73. $62.73. $62.73. $62.74. That one's used very good. An extra penny for being it very good. $74.86. Used acceptable. Oh, wait, we got more copies. $75.28. $75.28. $175 and $191. Used like new. Ships from Ireland. Wow. So if you want to get a copy, strike while the match is hot. Check the link for the description below. But anyway, there you have it. The Bank of America of Louisiana.